Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of D&D CR Exposed here on my YouTube channel. You know, whatever, it's cool. Top of the order here, I'll get the business out of the way. If you like what you've seen in past videos and you'd like to get this tool for yourself, go ahead and check the link below for my Ko-fi page where you can get this for free or donate if you feel so inclined. Doesn't matter to me, you can donate or not. I just want people to use this tool now because it's pretty much all set. There's gotta be probably a couple of things I need to tweak here and there, but you will get free updates. You just gotta keep the link. Alright, anyways, so what are we doing today? We are looking at the Draconic Shard from the Fizban's Treasury of Dragons. This was another request, and you can request monsters as well. Leave a comment, and I will add those into the chart here, my graph, my little sheet, my Google sheet, so I can keep track of monsters that people want to see next. Otherwise, you can use the Google form, but, comment, because that's what the algorithm wants. Comment, like, subscribe, whatever. You can do whatever you want. Anyways, let's get into this video because this is a long one. Okay, so we have the Draconic Shard from Fizban's Treasury of Dragons. This is a huge undead with a armor class of 17. Let's go ahead and put this to huge. The only reason we're doing this for huge is because it modifies the d12s for the hit dice. We don't really need to worry about that. With 16 of them, like I tell people, you can just grab numbers if you're making monsters. Grab the number from here. Don't worry about the proper amount of hit dice to get that lined up. If you want the monster to have 340 hit points and be a DCR 18 for defensive CR, perfect. Grab it and then make the adjustments as needed. Otherwise, we can, and there's ways to do that with the tool too. You don't have to pick out the dice and get it properly. I can show that in another video if people want to see how to do this without getting exact numbers. Okay, so now that we have our hit points set up, we have 104 so far. We need to get those last little bits here. Let's throw in our stats for 1 strength. Wow, really? 1 strength. Interesting. 12 dex, 18 constitution, 22 intelligence, 18 wisdom, and 22 charisma. So that is going to be those. We have 168 hit points now, and we're going to go into its effects here. Whatever I would call this little section. Forgot. We have saving throws. We have dex, int, wiz, and 4 charisma. So that's 4 saving throws. So we're going to go ahead and add those into the saving throws section here. So because of that, this is going to give us a +2 effective AC bonus. Because we have 3 to 4. If we had 5 to 6, that would be +4. And then we look at skills. We don't care about skills. Damage resistances. We have acid, fire, bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing. But we also have damage immunities to cold, necrotic, poison, and psychic. So we're going to go ahead and use immunities in this case. Also, because our monster is a CR 17, resistances at this level wouldn't matter. So we're going to go ahead and throw in 17, which is going to make some adjustments here on the chart. And then we look at senses, don't care about senses or languages, we can just move right into the monster traits. So we have deflection. Shard's AC includes its intelligence modifier. Cool, we don't have to worry about that. It's already covered. We have incorporeal movement. Doesn't make any kind of effects to our monster, but we do have legendary resistance. So we're going to go ahead and throw those in. And if I can remember where, yeah, I'm hovering right over it. Way to go, Andy. Okay. 3 per day, so that's going to give us an effective bonus hit points of 90. We also have rejuvenation. When it drops to 0, that means it just kind of recovers back in its gemstone. Cool, we don't need to worry about that. Unusual nature also doesn't matter. So rejuvenation, unnatural nature, or unusual nature, incorporeal movement, and deflection. Technically, deflection is already in there, but those 3 don't matter for our monster, so we can skip on down into the multi-attacks here. So for our multi-attacks, come back over here and we're going to see the shard makes 2 telekinetic rend attacks. So for that, it's going to be either melee or range, which is pretty nice. We're going to go ahead and just throw this in for the sake of having this here now for the 2 hit bonus of 12. And then we have 15 from 2d8 plus 6. Since this is not an odd number, we can just put in 15 directly. And then our multi-attack is going to be 2 of these. So we'll go ahead and just hit up 2 times 15 for a total of 30. Now we also have inhabit object. Scanning through this real quick, I don't see any reason to include this into the attacks, so I'm just going to skip over that. We do have psychic crush on a recharge of 5 to 6, so we're going to see this only once. It's going to have a DC 20 intelligence save, and any creatures that fail take 55 points of damage. So we're going to go ahead and put that at 55 times 2 because we are expecting 2 failures. And the expected range, as always, as I explained, is either 4 saves, for people that pass the DC, which means they take half damage for a total of two failed saves, or one failed and 2 saves, which would again give us a total of 2 failed saves, or 2 creatures fail altogether, giving us the full amount of damage, which is on average 55 points. So that will total us out to 110, and we should only see that once. And of course we have spellcasting, psionics, and we have 3. Luckily, these aren't anything too crazy. We have detect thoughts, invisibility, and telekinesis. I'm not going to worry about these because invisibility is standard. It takes an action to use, so that would just drop our offensive CR pretty quickly. So from there, we're just going to go ahead and take a look at our legendary actions. We can do a rend for 1 point. So that is going to be here. So we can say we could rend 3 times if we wanted to for 45 points of damage. We could cast a spell using 2 actions. And okay, so in this case, the invisibility could be helpful, but we also have invisibility over here. Or did we? Actually, invisibility, it's a spell though. Let's take a look at what invisibility would be here. Now, I'm fairly certain that invisibility is a level 2 spell? It's been a while. I don't really remember. Let me take a quick look here on my side resources. Okay, invisibility spell. Yes, it is a 2nd level spell. All right, great. So let's look up spell damage here, I believe. And we want to go to level 2, something that is going to give us a level 2 here. So Blur, for instance. Blur is going to give us 16 effective damage per round. So we'll take that Blur because it's a single target, and invisibility is also a single target. We'll come back to the 16. We'll drop it in my little converter here for effective DPR to effective hit points, which means we would get a 40 effective hit points. You know, we're doing more damage than needing to be invisible, and it's a one-shot use, so it's kind of worthless in this instance. I'll take a look and add this in later, but for the time being, I'm going to skip over the spells because the spells aren't that powerful, in my opinion. Then we also have Commanding Thought. 2 actions. The shard targets a creature within 30 feet, DC 20 save, or be charmed until the end of the next turn. While charmed in this way, the target becomes the shard's puppet, acting and moving in accordance with its telepathic commands. So that's going to be a level 1 spell, because we can charm person, or we can do a charm spell at level 1. That's going to be 27 effective hit points. Again, this may not be worthwhile. Let's take a look at just straight damage, and then we'll make adjustments as needed. Okay, so now that we have our attacks here, let's go ahead and do our first round of the Psychic Crush, and then we're going to do our multi-attacks. Oops, yeah, I know. And we'll do that multi-attack, and just for the sake of it, in our concentration, which is going to apply to every round of combat, we're going to go ahead and throw in our 45 here for our legendary actions, which means we're just doing rend after rend after rend. And that, surprisingly enough, with just the damage and no spells, brings us right to a CR 17, which is great to see here for our monster, this Draconic Shard. Now, what happens if we are bypassing the immunities? Now, as we saw here before, the immunities are cold, necrotic, poison, and psychic. What if we're using thunder or magical slashing, piercing, and whatnot? So we're just going to jump right down into, resistances. Because of the monster being so high and being over, I think it's CR 15, resistances don't matter anymore. It doesn't help the monster at all. So we can leave that here, or we can just go to none. And if you can bypass the immunities and the resistances, our Draconic Shard here drops to a CR 15. Okay. Now, if we are, getting hit and getting those immunities of cold, necrotic, poison, or psychic, psychic not so much, not so often, we will see that higher round. But primarily, poison, everyone knows to avoid using poison. Psychic is not that highly used as far as I know. And then cold and necrotic, again, very few people are going to be using cold on as often, and necrotic, maybe here and there. Fire is going to be a big one, and acid, maybe. But in any event, so our Draconic Shard here drops to a CR 15 by bypassing those immunities and resistances. That was a cat. Anything else to cover here? Do we have to worry about anything else? All right, let's take a look here real quick. If we were to downgrade our concentration check and say we're going to use 1 round of the Rend for legendary actions, and let's put the resistance and immunities back in just for the sake of things here. We're going to go ahead and throw in the invisibility. So the invisibility is going to be effective hit points of 27, so we're going to add that in here. And we actually do drop our overall CR rating here. With immunities counted in, we go from a 17 to a 16. So like I was kind of saying before, the invisibility and spellcasting is kind of pointless. It's a good setup, but beyond that, there's no point in using these spells during combat. This is just primarily focusing on attacking and whatnot. Okay, so there we go. This is the Draconic Shard at CR 17 with immunities. Otherwise, it drops down to a CR 15. Thank you all so much for joining me for this week's episode with the Draconic Shard from the Fizban's Treasury of Dragons. Again, if you want to get this tool for yourself, go ahead and grab it from the links below at my Ko-fi page. You can grab it for free or donate if you feel so inclined, and also leave a comment here to get another monster seen on the channel to have it broken down. All right, thanks everyone so much, and I will see you next time. Have a great week.